We are now live.
We are live. Thank you, Samiksha. All right, first up, that was our keynoter, Gaurav. And now we are on to our next panel discussion. Panel discussions are more interactive and more interesting. We've got stellar speakers. I'm going to be introducing each one of them very quickly. And in the interest of time, we'll try and get them online as soon as we can. So now we're looking at how innovative CMOs generate business value by embracing and adopting a hyper relevant, agile approach in delivering human experience. This session is co powered by Devami and will be moderated by them as well. Very quickly, I've got Kaushik Bhattacharjee, who's heading service excellence with Medcare hospitals and medical centers. I've got Dhanraj, who's the Chief Executive Officer for Mercedes-Benz Central Star Gujarat. Amit, who's the Head of Marketing with Siska Group. Ajay, we've got two Ajays. So Ajay Dhyani, Head Marketing and E-Commerce with Timex Group, and Ajay Nambiar, who's the Chief Operating Officer with M3M, and he's also the CSO with M3M India. Uh, Paritama, could I request you to take center stage? If there are any questions, I'll post them on the chat and also ask them soon as your session ends.
Thank you, Shantanu, for the introduction. And welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining the panel discussion. Like Shantanu already introduced, the topic for the panel discussion is how innovative CMOs generate business value by embracing hyper-relevant and agile approach in HX. We all know human experience is all about us, the humans, and it is all about understanding the customers, enabling, fulfilling their lives in certain ways, and also by providing a continuum of engaging them with experiences end of the day, right? This is all what human experience is all about. In the current situation with COVID-19 affecting all of us, our behaviors have changed, our spending patterns have changed, and our wants and needs have changed, our perspective towards life, as well as our decision-making capabilities have changed. So in the context of that, the marketing fraternity has been struggling, though the digital world has opened up a lot of options here, while a lot of SMBs, the small and medium businesses, along with the larger players, have been investing a lot into the digital strategies. There's still a gap somewhere. While the digital world open up a lot of solutions for marketing, there is still a gap. So probably, Amit, we could begin with you. We wanted to understand, or I'm wondering what your advice to the organization leaders would be on how to leverage human experience to acquire, nourish, as well as capture and retain the customer relationship.
Amit, before you begin, may I also request all other speakers to put themselves on mute? And Amit, while you're speaking, I'd let you also unmute yourself and take over. Thanks, Prathama. Amit, over to you.
Hi. Thank you so much. And thanks, Pratima, for the question. I think it's a very, very pertinent question in today's, digitally, revolutionized, times right now. See, you spoke about, how, these organizations are doing, in terms of their journeys, right, in today's system. I think I have to be extremely candid while I give the answer to you. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is, that don't go for a very hasty decision to go online. I think, there is so much of pressure today, and more so because of the pandemic that we have experienced in last year onwards. It's still going, unfortunately. There is this, big pressure on the organizations. I see that, oh, I have to go online. My point is, yes, you have to go online, that's for sure, but that decision needs to be taken very, very judiciously. I think it's important to, kind of look at your business model and re-evaluate your readiness. I think that is very important, because, what happens, I think it's not really difficult to establish a brand in the online space. I kind of don't agree with that. But I think the problem here is that, businesses either consciously or subconsciously, they tend to become extremely transactional. I think that's where the problem is, because you're talking about brands, but what we are doing online is only transactions. I think that's the reality of it, right? So uh, I think, if you have to acquire, the HX, the human experience that you spoke about, it's very important to, first of all, be very, very, candid in accepting few realities, I think, because you cannot have a relationship, it's for the customers, right? If it's only with the acquaintance, like, it's very simple, right? In life, you have acquaintances, then somebody becomes your friend, then somebody becomes your BFF, and then somebody becomes your maybe somebody beyond a BFF, right? And that's where the relationship establishes very strongly. So I think we need to first of all move from that awareness is equal to direct action wala model and shift a bit towards action, a little later on. But before you do that, you have awareness, then you have maybe engagement coming in, a bit of engagement, a bit of love, and then there's an action part of it. Now, how do you nurture? I think you have to be extremely honest about what you are doing, what you are not doing. What kind of convenience you bring to the customers. I guess that's very important. I personally feel that we struggle a lot in terms of giving a seamless after sale service, even if it is digitally. And I think I don't know how many of you will agree. Saying no is still a better option. I think we are so afraid of saying no to the customers that, oh God, if I say no, this customer is going to pissed off really bad. I don't agree with this point. So if you are not able to address something, be honest and say no. This is not possible, right? Because even if you say no, that brings a lot of clarity, right? And even if there's a bit of clarity, customer is really happy. And as far as when you say how do you retain, I think it's a very big challenge. I think, and simply because you need to be very proactive. I think businesses are most of the times reactive because sabne kiya isliye hum kar rahe hain. I think that is where it kind of fails flat. I think if you are able to, how do I put this? Like discover the latent, requirements before it is realized by anybody else. I think you can work a lot on that aspect, and just you can bring a lot of pleasant experiences to the customers. I think so. I think these are one of those very basic things that I think you can use as a organization to acquire and nurture, and more than that, retain your customer relationships. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Amit. I was Ajay Dhyani, especially I've been reading a few articles about you recently where you have been encouraging people to go digital. And I think that's a strategy you've been following at Timex. Do you agree? I'm sure a lot of points that Amit raised, we do agree, but anything that you want to point out or raise on the specific question that we have here?
Right. So, first of all, thanks for having me here today. So, I think this is a very important, subject. Not as a marketer, but as a consumer. I share my opinion based on my personal experience working with Timex as well as consuming various other brands across different industries. So, starting with the digital channel. So digital has opened plethora of channels to connect with the consumers, and similarly consumers have several ways to connect with the brand. So it's not like a one way communication these days, it's like two-way communication. So consumer needs to be connected with the brands all the time, and they want to be updated, and they make themselves clear and sound to the brand. So as an organization, I feel the most important point here is that we need to be absolutely agile towards listening to what consumers are feeling about your brands, what they have, what do they perceive about your brand, and what is their experience about your brand. That's very important. So not only being agile, but also empathetic towards their feelings, their experience. You need to carve out that superior experience for the consumers. Now that's very important, but couple of things which I feel the organizations need to focus. The one thing is that the processes. That's absolutely important. I have seen in previous years that the customer retention, or managing the best experience customer service, it's only left to the one particular department, which is no longer the case today. I think the way different functions collaborate as a team to ensure your CX efforts, your human experience efforts are achieved to a superior level, that's very important. So it's not one function responsibility. There has to be across different departments. It's very key how different functions and processes coordinates towards that. Second, I would say, is the use of technology, because technology is like, changing things rapidly, and it can really help you to get closer to your consumers, to listen to what consumers are saying. So maybe like, some kind of tools, social media listening tools, or some other tools which can help you to be updated about, the live updates, kind of live updates about what your brands is doing and how consumers are feeling towards it. And maybe based on that, I've seen companies building scalable customer retention programs to retain the customers. I've seen marketeers deploying budgets towards customer acquisition. When we do digital campaigns, all other campaigns, we talk about customer acquisition, right? But I've not seen, very few marketers I've seen deploying budgets towards customer retention. Listening to what customers are talking about your brand, how I feel that you are as good as your past 3 months reviews about the product on the online space. So everything is open. So I think as a marketer we should also put focus towards the customer retention. It's like all processes, all functional responsibility, and the most important thing is the people. I feel that without people being empathetic towards the customer, elevating that human experience, it's very difficult to achieve, because at the end of the day, we all humans are sensory creatures. So whatever content we consume, we there has to be some kind of feeling, there has to be some kind of warmth, and that in that touch points with the consumer. So we cannot leave it to the technology alone. It has to be people driven also. So I think all these points put together can really elevate a great human experience, can help organization to achieve great human experience. Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Ajay.
I hope that covers your point.
Yeah, it does. So, Ajay Nambiar, I mean, and sorry for taking the last names because we have two Ajays here. In the context of real estate and also based on your past experience, right? The shift in real estate has been huge in many ways. And real estate also has been adapting a lot to digital. I mean, they have been digitalizing a lot of their solutions. In that context, would you want to throw some light? And also, one specific point I'm interested in knowing from you, along with HX, the importance of HX. How important is retaining the customers important in the real estate industry? And do you do anything specific? Because you do acquire, you nurture, but once you have a customer, how important is it for you to retain the customers?
Great. Thanks, Pratima. I think the points raised by Amit and Ajay are quite relevant, and I'll probably not dive into real estate straight away. I'll come back to that. The temptation is to get into it straight away, but I think from experience, very valid points that Amit also raised, that currently the implementation is very transaction based, right? You take the implementation of technology to reduce transactions, or to find an outlet for transactions to get resolved. And I think that as a strategy probably is very superficial. And I'll probably give a context to it. It is very inside out looking. So we actually look at, okay, we've got this problem, let's just put some technology to sort the problem out. And my favorite, well, I don't want to use it as a flogging horse, but is the food delivery apps that you have. If you look at it from their point of view, great. It's only a tech platform. They've copied the US model. It is great. People don't like one-on-one connections. They just want it on the app. And you order something at 8 o'clock in the night. By 9:30, suddenly there's a ping on your app, or you log on to your app and it says, sorry, the order has been cancelled and we've refunded your money. Now, from an experience point of view, you feel, oh, how delightful, I got my money back. But honestly, that was not my purpose. My purpose, I'm still waiting, I'm still hungry, right? How does that translate to actually an experience? And to me, having spent my initial career with hotels do that, hotels and travel do that outstandingly well, because the core for them really is service. Everything else is incidental. So they don't get distracted by what technology is needed for a better service. The fact that service is a culture. So I'm addressing the first part. It comes from culture. What is the culture of the organization towards a service or a customer experience or a human experience? It comes fundamentally from the culture of the organization. and I think that point was also stressed by Ajay, that the base foundation cannot be just get technology in. It's only an enabler. It doesn't solve your problem. You definitely need to have your in real estate. I think it's a living example. You can't have the building without the foundation. The entire focus is to have a very strong foundation. You can do any kind of a structure. I mean, Kaushik is in the Gulf, and the Burj Khalifa. If you ask me, I think that's an engineering marvel because of the amount of time spent on building the foundation for a building of that height, to know how deep you have to go underground in a place which is fundamentally reclaimed land. It is not on hardcore earth. To me, that's outstanding. So the foundation is very important. After you've done that, then you can lay your strategy of adoption of technology or face to face, and have that interlinkage brick by brick. To come to real estate, Pratima, very quickly on the question that you raised, I think we are in the early stages of adoption on a CX journey, if I can call it that way. There have been a lot of improvements done in the last 8 to 10 years. I joined this in 2010, and I know from where we were to where we are today. I think the developers, realists, and the fact that you've got also conglomerates coming into this space has made a big difference, a sea change to bringing in best practices. And I think that's wonderful. Government intervention was a second, which has also brought a lot of regulation to give the customers a voice. On your question of loyalty in real estate, to me, it's a little bit of a misnomer, because if you look at the product type itself, unlike any other product type, this product type you invest your lifetime saving into. It's a one-time investment of yours, right? And you are locked in for a minimum period of 4 years. And here's a product you're buying which you don't get to see for 4 years. You actually pay the money without seeing a product. One. And I think till RERA, and RERA is the Real Estate Regulation Act, came into being, you were much at the mercy of the developer. I don't mean literally, but to that extent that you had no out, the developer actually ran the show, right? The developer ran the show. But I think RERA brought a consumer voice to it. That's the first good leg. I think the second good leg would be when it also brings in the authorities, approving authorities also. Then it gives all three accountable parties on the same platform. Having said that, with RERA having come in, I think there's at least the basic, and I'll give you one basic metric, is delivery on time. A basic metric in real estate is deliver on time. I promise you I'll deliver the product in 4 years. Post RERA, you today find people either have extended it to 5 years to say, okay, I may take a little longer time, but deliver it on time. Today, delivery on time is no longer a metric, because the punitive penalties are so high that you will deliver on time. Right? On the other side, I think the adoption of technology is a gradual process. Unfortunately, I think the experience that happens, moment of truth happens 4 years down the line when the product gets delivered. And if you ask me, that's when the measures actually start. You measure 6 months later, 1 year later, when somebody's actually using your product. In the case of a Mercedes-Benz, when you actually get into the car, start the engine and drive. Not as much when you see the car, because see the car is only a acquisition strategy, and I love it, it looks good. Till you drive it, you don't know. So till you get into the house and start living, you don't know. So the measure of the brand value really comes in the 5th year or the 6th year of purchase. And I think that there's a lot of improvements. And the way I have, at least in the organizations I've worked, is to build something called a continuous improvement mandate, which is basis experience of people who have stayed, build experiences from them. We of course measure CSAT. We measure the Net Promoter Score only on when we hand over, but we also then measure the Net Promoter Score 1 year down the line. And there is a dramatic fall from a very high score, because when somebody's taking possession, he's very happy. The car looks very good. The house looks very good. Open the door, it looks beautiful. But 1 year down the line, if there is something leaking in a car engine not working, or there's some leakage, AC not working, your experience starts deteriorating, or it is excellent, either which way. So to me, the fight really is 1 year down the line. The clock, day zero is 1 year down the line, actually, and then measuring. So technology, yes, as a leverage, and I think there are a lot of beautiful apps. MyGate as an example. I'll just take I love quoting MyGate as an example. Today, every society has it, and that security guard standing at the gate today is empowered to take decisions with just a simple app. It's outstanding how an app has actually enabled a much superior, safe, and secure experience for people who stay there. So that's just my point. Of course, we'll come back to Pratima if there's a question. My apologies for taking up so much time.
No, Ajay. This is, and it's very insightful, especially, bringing up the culture of an organization, or the culture, how you promote stuff is extremely important. And that's what you pointed out, along with the metrics like NPS and stuff. So, and also you were talking about Merck, and on the backstage, we were all discussing, and Dhanraj was trying to point out how it is very important for him to retain the customer, or customer loyalty is extremely important for brand Mercedes. And we were, generally discussing that. So Dhanraj, again, I think it'll be nice if you can throw some light on this. How have you been leveraging the digital solutions, and what is the impact? And during the current COVID times, are you able to reach out to the customers as you would have normally? Dhanraj, you're on mute.
Yeah. Thanks, Pratima, for bringing me to this wonderful stage. And thanks, Ajayji, also for setting me the tone for my answer. Because our products are same. It cannot be digitally purchased. It has to be felt. And when Pratima, you asked me about retaining the customers, we follow a particular motto. Like our mission, or kind of not mission, I can say any pioneer's mission should not be of only retaining customers. The mission should be of converting those customers into the fans of our brands. Because there's a lot difference between the customers and the fans. Customers, they need to be attracted, but the fans will always be there. Customers definitely give their money and buy the products, but when it comes to fans, they just give their hearts to us. Customers complain, but fans always forgive. Customers vary from segment to segment, but fans stay there forever. Customers are satisfied, but fans are passionate about the brand. So that's what we feel, that it should be focused. And when it comes to a luxury car segment, when a person pays 5 or 7 times then a normal car he buys, then this becomes very important for us. And nowadays we all are talking about the axis, how many X we have, that's a different things, but I am talking about all the axis. First is user experience, second is customer experience, and third most important we always forget is employee experience. And a combination of all three becomes the human experience. And human experience is only achieved, or you can say you can touch a human by touching his or her heart. Heart can be touched, I'll talk about only basics. Hearts can be touched with 5 senses, 5 human senses. You can see, you can hear, you can touch, you can taste, and you can smell. If you access those areas, you can easily touch the heart of the customers. And then he becomes fans of the brand or the person who's serving him. So human experience is not, I can say, it is a big commitment for all of us. And everybody has to be part of a human experience. Definitely digital technology is there. It has to be used, but it is a tool. It is not an alternative for generating business, especially for the segments for which customers are very sensitive about and is paying higher only for getting something extra. That can be his status, that can be his paying for comfort, or like Ajayji said, for comfort of the house, you have a wow feeling when you reach the home. So digital technology is a tool, but at the end, customer should always feel that at the end of all these things, if nothing is there, one human is there to understand my feelings. I would say that it should be like a human experience should be मैं हूं ना wali feelings. Sir, I am always there. कुछ भी नहीं हुआ, anything is not there. One human is there to understand you as a human. And now human experience is a responsibility of everybody. It is a responsibility of organization. Organization should always recognize that human experience should go beyond the walls of the organizations, including customers, employees, and also the business partners. When it comes to marketing officer, he has got the tools, he has got the strong point, because the marketing person knows the tools to reach to the human heart, what I talked about. How he can do that? He should know the values of the human that the organization hopes to serve. And he should relentlessly message those values that the brand holds sacred. The core values of the brand, you should continuously message it. Always avoid easy solutions because they are not long term. You should evaluate your solutions, our solutions, through the empathetic lens to boost human connection between customers, employees, and also the business partners. And he should also orchestrate that cross-functional teams to identify the unmet human feeds that create solutions through very innovative experiences. Now we talk about the CEO. Yes, CEO's role is also very important. The CEO should envisage the values of the organization across the ecosystem and ensure that they are there too. Even if it is a CFO accounts guy, his importance is also there. The CFO should secure that investments are invested in the data that facilitate identifying the human needs. There the investment should go. When it comes to retaining the customer and you're investing in retaining the customer, the investment should go in that direction when the human needs are easily captured. Even it comes to chief information officer of the company or IT head of the company, he should also enable the data collection analysis that create the human experience. And last is the function of human resource officer of the company. HRO, Chief Human Resource Officer, should align the human force to company values so that they understand importance of their work and solve the meaningful problems. So this is, I can say it has to be seen as a complete picture, holistic picture. Digital technology is definitely helpful, but in the end, the five human senses and the human heart, it is the thing that takes the decision. And that decision making, if you touch upon, those customers will become our fans. That is what I will convey. Yes, definitely smart cars are there, digital experiences are there. In our industry, if you send the car, you can see the video, everything. But if something goes wrong, customer will always call somebody and take out his all frustration to a human being, not a digital robot. Because in the end, I can say that we should all remember that we are not the human being having a spiritual experience. We are the spiritual being immersed in a human experience. I solved the query what you answered. Maybe in
Yes,
case if I overshoot the time, I'm sorry. But I think
no
that is what
worries.
I felt. Ultimately, it is a five basic, and we should stick to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhanraj. You definitely introduced, spiritual experience over human experience. So I think that's a topic for probably a next panel discussion. But Maihuna, that line holds really well, Kaushik, for the med industry, med tech or Medicare industry, right? I mean, especially in the last
All service industry, I believe. Yes.
definitely all service industries, and when in the context of medical care, things have changed so drastically over the last 18 months, right? I mean, there is a thin line between overdoing and also doing, right? It's
Yes.
and also especially like Dhanraj pointed out, from a marketing perspective, yes, we need fans, but also from the customer service perspective, we need to make sure that everything is taken care in the context of Medicare. How do you think, can you share your opinion on how you are leveraging digital solutions as well as making sure, everything is taken care, and also making sure that the offline marketing is being handled well?
Okay, so hi everyone, and if I look at my entire tenure in my entire career, it is equally divided into hospitality and healthcare. So if I do it, it's 50-50. Now, the best part, I will give you a little bit back into when I was working. Obviously, I come from a background of Taj Hotels and I used to had the customer experience there and then moved to healthcare. So one of the tasks that was prime assigned to me was make it like the Taj. When I joined way back in the year 2011, how do we create the culture of customer centricity? Now, two things were very, very important. Now, having said that, I think one key point which everybody spoke about, customer experience is not a department, it is not an SOP, it is the culture of the organization. And it doesn't start with hiring one CX professional at the top, and at the end of the day, the organization then decides to do what they want to do. It's about believing in it. So just to give you a few context of how things have changed, I think it is past 18 months. Yes, COVID gave us a very, very different thing in terms of how digitization, because see what has happened today, all of us live in an Insta culture, whether it is ordering food, whether it is even ordering clothes, whether it is ordering groceries, whether it is your banking transactions, you click the button and you want results. Healthcare is no different. And we faced this when COVID came in more. While the traditional approach was go consult a doctor, gives you medications, you take the medications, go back to the doctor. But with COVID coming in, everybody was scared to go to hospitals. We definitely wanted a platform whereby the patients could reach the hospital in a digital world. And then came the invention of the telemed care services, which we launched. I mean to say, believe me, we struggled for 3 years. COVID came and we launched it in 18 days. So I always say, nobody is a better. I say this to all my CIOs. What CIOs could not do, COVID did, on a lighter note. Okay, we launched it. But having said that, once we launched this, we understood it was equally important. While today patients were able to speak to the doctor on a digital platform, but what was equally evident, for the doctor to still have the human experience. Okay, consultation got over. After that, the medicines has to be sent to the patient, and there again a human experience came into picture. Now, if you look at amalgamation of all this, and fortunately now in this part of the country where I belong to, fortunately COVID is under control, numbers are under control. But one thing that I have seen is, at the end of the day, you might have multiple digital platforms to make healthcare accessible to people. But the real magic is created when that human being enters your premises, right from where he parks his car till the time he sees the doctor, and he comes out and goes back. Because Pratima and other team members, believe you me, once he sees the doctor, his all anxiety, anger disappears. He could come to the hospital, he could get irritated to wait for the 10 minutes. The moment he sees the doctor, he feels he is the one who will take care of me, and everything gets taken care of. But today, the platform that I operate in, for every healthcare provider, this is becoming a hygiene factor. Honestly speaking, if I don't go into high costly care like organ transplant, into which are really, really, really costly, your basic healthcare, secondary healthcare, even tertiary healthcare is becoming like run of the mill. It really doesn't matter for a patient. They look at the doctor, they Google the doctor, but what really makes is the word of mouth. And how does the word of mouth happens? Through great human experiences. I will pick up only one leaf of what Daniel Kahneman has told on Human Sigma. What Six Sigma does for manufacturing industries, Human Sigma does for all service industries. And I think healthcare is no different. It is about building that emotional connect with your consumer, with your customer, or with your guest. One one line item that, as a heading customer experience of Medcare, I always tell to my all my team members is, do all the 2000 people who walk into your hospital every day, when they go back home, do they have a story to share? Can you convert a transaction into a memorable experience so that people remember a story? And when I say this, a lot of people tell me, who don't know me well, saying, you know what, hospital, who thinks about a story? Nobody wants. The answer is not that. Small little, every single employee makes that extra mile effort so that the customer registers his name. And next time when he thinks of the hospital, he thinks of calling to this particular individual saying that, yay, this guy went out of the way to help me out. It could be as simple as, when this guy was waiting for the car, he came out and say, hey, sir, you have been waiting for long. Why don't you come and sit down? Offer him a glass of water. That makes a difference, because the anxiety levels are high in the hospital. Your BPs are high in a hospital. Small things make all the difference. So I hope I was able to answer what you had in mind. Thank you, Pratima.
Absolutely, Kaushik. I mean, it is extremely important. And while you were talking about it, I was just thinking of the experiences that I had during this COVID times, where, One, until we meet the doctor, yes, there is anxiety, anger, and the waiting room is like a hell. And the supporting staff make a huge difference, right? And if a culture of the hospital is in such a way that the support staff actually can cater to these patients or the attendees, nothing like it. And I think the brand is sold right there. And the attendees and the patients become your brand ambassadors in one way.
True.
Yeah, thanks, Kaushik. So again, we are in the context of the human experience, right? One, we are all talking about increasing the loyalty or giving the best experience to the customers, and also creating fans along the way, right? Along with it, do these digital solutions or any marketing strategies should we or let me rephrase my question a bit. Providing great human experience is extremely important for retaining the customers, nurturing them, or but at the same time, will the great human experience be a differentiator and will give us a competitive advantage? Indirectly, what I'm asking is it a core competency? Should creating human experiences be a core competency or a differentiator? Ajay, do you want to take it away?
Which one, Pratima? Which one?
Ajay, would you look at great human experience as a core competency or a differentiator in the current world?
Yeah. So to me, this is a kind of a heart and brain question. One cannot function without the other. I can't delink the two. To be honest, I think it is at the core, and if it is not at the core, then you have a problem. And if it is at the core, it automatically becomes a differentiator because it becomes part of the culture. I mean, it's a brilliant question. Thank you for framing a question of this kind. It's like an oxymoron of a question where, while they both are opposites to an extent, they both cannot live without each other. To me, it is at the very heart of what one does. And I have got examples of outstanding organizations. Like you take a service, you take something like Ritz-Carlton. To me, Ritz-Carlton in hospitality is an outstanding model of service, because that service culture, it seeps through top down, and it is in every human being. If you have service culture of that nature, you don't have to worry about competition. And that's my firm belief. You don't have to worry. You take an Apple product. If the Apple's product is so superior that the product doesn't fail, and I'm taking these examples, that the product is the king. Product or service is the king. Having said that, I also have there are also examples of we in our daily life we've all traveled by Shatabdi, and there is food being served on the Shatabdi. If you notice, I've been doing a lot of these trips between Bangalore, Chennai, and Gurgaon, or rather Delhi and Chandigarh. You will definitely get the chapati or the parantha that tastes the same throughout the year. The dal tastes the same. To me, that is fundamental to building anything. So that's a core competence of IRCTC, that can produce in mass scale, but of the same consistent quality, quantity, taste every single time. To me, it's as simple as that. There is no magic wand. You listen to all the great athletes, Michael Jordan, Federer. They will all say the same. Their secret mantra is doing the same thing again and again and again and again, and doing it well. They may do minor tweaks, and I think the same is for us. It is not a mantra that let's do great customer service. You can't do it. I'll give an example from an organization we worked. It's in the timeshare business. We hired housekeepers from hospitals, and Kaushik will endorse that. The fact is that they have the highest level of empathy. You can't buy empathy. It's in their DNA. They understand because they handle stress, sorrow, sadness, medical issues all the time, and they yet have to put up a brave fund. From that point of view, hiring for a housekeeper who can empathize is a no-brainer. If you're getting where I'm coming from. So for me, it's at the core of what the organization does. If you just do it as lip service, and unfortunately or fortunately, a lot of what we do comes down as lip service because the experience is considered a departmental function, not a culture of the organization. As long as you consider it a function, it unfortunately will never allow the company to expand or get a great brand value. Take pandemic, and I think that's a wonderful example, Pratima, of pandemic. You look at companies that have outstanding companies that have come out to say, for all those unfortunately who have lost their lives during the pandemic, taking care of their family. If you ask me, that family is made for life to that organization. And the organization didn't have to spend too much. It was not about the quantum, it is the thought of the organization. Such organizations honestly will survive a lifetime. My take on that. So sorry to me, this is honestly a very emotional thing. It is emotional because service at the end, experience, human experience or service experience comes from the heart of what we do. As basic as that.
Yes, Ajay rightly said. I think we are all talking about things coming from the heart as well as using the brain to leverage certain strategies at the same time. Thanks for the your points on that. Kaushik, would you want to add something, especially because Ajay did mention that other industries do hire support staff from healthcare.
True.
And sorry, we only have about 9 minutes, so if we could keep the rest of the comment
I
short.
I will just add one line to this. I think we at healthcare, one thing that I constantly try to do, and me and Ajay have been speaking in multiple forums together, we in fact now have started benchmarking with does Disney Kingdom, Walt Disney. Because, and when we initially do this, people say that, this guy is out of his mind, impossible, improbable, impractical, can't happen. What is he talking? Better work for Disney. I just tell them one word. When you look at the animation king, when you look at the kingdom, Disney Kingdom, it is about meeting the emotional needs of a family who come for fun together. A hospital is about meeting the emotional needs of a family who come for anxiety. There's a lot of, and sometimes even tragedy together. A hospital without compassion is like a trip to Disney without fun. So we are in the same industry like Disney, only offering a different experience. Because here, the keyword is not entertainment, the keyword is experience. Whether it is retail, whether it is a Mercedes Benz, or whether it is buying, a healthcare experience or a transaction with a doctor, it is about the word experience that makes a customer sing your praises. So I would end with that.
Pratima, so sorry. I just wanted to add one point, if I don't, very quickly,
Sure, Ajay.
on what Kaushik has said on Disney and healthcare. The key metric from a service experience point of view is the time spent in a queue. In both, that time spent in a queue, it's not about you have plenty of empathy, but make a person wait for 10 hours. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it may not be 10 hours. Time spent in a queue is a metric. It's
Yes.
outstanding. They measure the time spent in a queue. So from Kaushik's point of view in a hospital too, how long do you spend in a queue before you get admitted is a critical metric. Sorry, please go ahead.
Thanks, Ajay. Because we are running out of time, I would like to take a few questions that are posted here. One of the questions here is staying aware about what your customer wants via digital data and comments. How much can it help us stay proactive? Amit, do you want to take that question? So the question,
Can I have the question once again?
Yes. So I think I'll summarize the question. The question here is, how do we leverage digital data and comments? How will the data help us stay proactive to cater to customer needs? And
Okay. So I think all marketeers actually, vouch for a lot of data. The madness that is for data is, you just can't define. Because we believe that, if you have this much of data, you're very happy, you're very efficient, and if you have this much of data, you're awesome. I think that's the kind of situation we all eventually sort of face in the profile that we are all into. But the reality is that if you look at the data, whether you are collecting it offline or whether you are collecting it online, it will really help you to sort of design and deliver the right customer experience as we all are aiming for. But we need to be really careful about the fact that data still gives you, in some or the other way, the assumptions that we prepare, right? Because data is retrospective. जो पहले हुआ है उसका data है, but this will not be really efficient to the T to say that, okay, fine, this will happen in the next 5 years, right? You can have your assumptions safely, but it is not foolproof. So that means there is a room for error. I think that's where it is very important that while you collect data, you're romancing data. It is also important to not to forget your actual lover, which is your customer, right? And go and talk to the customer and and dig out the real insights that, okay, what do you really need? I think that's very important. So that's my quick take on data and human experience.
Dhanraj, would you want to share some of your inputs on how you guys leverage data and what is your strategy with data? And Dhanraj, you're on mute.
Sorry, can you hear me now? Yeah. See, we believe the industry that I am dealing is, we have a very less data with us, we can say, very potential. So we believe that data is the new oil now. Before 40 years, the wars were happening for the oils and crude oils. Now there will be wars, or there will be kind of, so many fluctuations or so many competition for capturing the data. It can be two, either capturing the competitor's data or capturing the accurate data of your customer. I personally believe that the capturing the correct data of the customer, especially which is the information which it touches to the heart of the customer, is very vital. Say, for example, just calling a customer on his marriage anniversary, or calling him on his birthday, or sending a gift or a, kind of a bouquet on his birthday would matter a lot more than any other service we give. Because as per the survey, I studied a survey of a Bain magazine. Bain is a very renowned agency. 80% of the customers, they leave our product not because of the deficit in the product, but because of the poor human experience they had. So we should get the data which gives us opportunity to touch the heart of the customer by generating the correct human experience. So that I'll just conclude, or I'll just give a message. I read one sentence of Steve Jobs that broader the understanding of human experience you will always have a better product and services.
Thanks, Dhanraj. On the same note, I think Dheeraj has a question. He's trying to understand how to get the best insights through the available customer feedback. Ajay Dhyani, do you want to take up that question?
Right. So, Dheeraj, I understand that you're talking about the customer feedback related to your products and services. So, we being into the fashion and lifestyle segment, where the emotional experience of the product is very important. Besides the functional benefits, I think it's very important to listen to what consumers are saying about your brand, about your product. So, couple of things which we do in our system. One is uh, that digitally, I mentioned earlier also that consumers are constantly sharing their feedback through digital platform. They're talking about your product. They're writing reviews on various platforms. So one simple way to understand from the consumers is by having social media listening tools to understand what's being talked about your products and services day in day out every day. That's very interesting way of understanding the trend and consumer uh, feelings about your brand. Second most important thing is that if you have a kind of a system where you could gather all the reviews, all the product reviews, maybe qualitative feedback getting from your call centers, listening to various calls which customers made during their distress time when they are not happy about the products. E-commerce sites where customers write about the product, they put images, and these sometimes these reviews are so interesting. As a team, we have found most of the times that the customers give such an amazing feedback that sometimes as a marketer or as a product team, somebody would have missed that particular point. It's very intriguing to find that customers are so involved with your products and services that they give so much of detailed feedback on these on platform. So I think digital as a tool can be leveraged to listen carefully what the consumers are talking about your brand. Besides conventional research and other things which we can do, like consumer satisfaction index and all. But I think digital is a very interesting platform, and these few things can really help you to understand what your consumers are feeling about your product and services. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Vivek.
There's one more question. The human experience is getting generalized as CX and UX, considering larger number of users and customers. The HX may make sense when you have very few high-valued customers, like in the case of Merck, for example. Is the understanding right? Any one of you? Kaushik, you want to take that?
See, the way how I would like to answer this, um, I call it I will answer from a healthcare perspective. There is always, whichever the industries that you go to, you grade your customers as Cat A, Cat B, Cat C. These are my high value customers, and obviously in healthcare also we say these are VVIPs. But in healthcare somehow we have been able to remove the word VIP instead of word very important person. I think everybody who comes in is very important, because fortunately, when I go to say a doctor, a very good doctor, say please take care of him, the doctor comes back and says to me, I will do exactly what I could do for anybody. There is nothing different that I will do. Now, having said that, what becomes really very critical, I always say, when you get rushed into an emergency, okay, normally that is one of the true litmus test of an hospital. You know what? The clinical part is taken care of because the doctors will do every single thing to do to protect a life. But what makes a difference is in and around of your patient attender, in and around of how it is being communicated to the patient attender, what is happening, what is going through, because there is so much of, and believe me, especially in India, if you look at when there's one person who is sick in the family, unlike the different culture, the entire family is there in emergency. And everybody will ask the same question to the doctor: what happened, what happened, what happened, and I hope he'll get discharged. So I think handling that emotional experience plays such an important role. So to answer you, I think whether it is digital, whether it is operational excellence, I always say human experience is like the lovely icing on the cake. It covers every single thing. So until and again, that icing on the cake comes from the culture. So you might do every single thing that is right, but if the doctor is rude to the patient, their entire experience goes for a toss. The emergency security guard is rude to the customer, the entire experience goes for a toss. And as all my colleagues have told, I think we are zooming into one important thing. In today's world, or in the world from another 5, 10, 20 years from now, I think HX will definitely be a key differentiator, whether it is the employee engagement or whether it is the customer engagement, because both of them talk hand in hand to build the superior customer experience.
Thanks, Kaushik. Thanks for answering that question. I think there are a couple of more questions, but I think we are running out of time. Just to rephrase, be it user experience, customer experience, or human experience, end of the day, they are probably jargon trying to, help us define experiences on, digital media or offline experience for that matter. What I've learned from this session is all of you pointing out that, feel with the heart, work with your brain, see how they merge, create fans along the way, and always tell your customers, my Huna.
True.
Any last comments that any one of you want to share?
Thanks, Pratima. I think you really brought out the best from all panelists. I have one question for Amit, if you could take this up very quickly. Now, Amit, there is no denying the fact that we need to turn value created, say, for customers into value created for businesses. We all understand that. But how do we map this in the process as a lead marketer? How are you mapping this value to the business?
See, Shantanu, what you said is definitely the crux of why the businesses are existing today, right? But in this whole process, as I mentioned earlier, uh, you can map it, if you really have the right intent easily. And why I say so, because, if you're able to wear the customer hat and actually figure out as to what that person is buying from you, what's that proposition, I think it is easy to sort of figure out as to what's really happening in the value chain. I will give an example, a very short, sweet example. So I am from Cisca, right? The name which is synonymous to the LED revolution in this country. But if you look at the core of everything, a bulb is a bulb is a bulb. But then why are you so strongly associated with this brand is the magic, the real magic, because of which the customer creates the equity and in turn it adds the equity to the business, right? Now, having said that, are you actually aware about, Shantanu, of your own home as to how many bulbs are you using? What kind of brands are you using? What all wattages that bulb is giving to you across your different rooms? And I'm telling you, you will not even know 10% of it, right? Because in a regular home, the wife keeps on telling you, aji sunte ho bulb kharab ho gaya, and like a regular husband, Shantanu will always try to overhear nahi theek hai, whatever, that's how regular normal husband will behave, right? I hope that is not offending Pratima. Okay, in any way. Now, typically, depending upon the Indian mindset of jugaad, you will try to postpone this whole thing ki who will go and buy that bulb right now, because you will go and figure out, okay, I can shift the bulbs here and there. But imagine in this whole realistic picture of the customer, which is actually you and me, we are also this customer, right? Before we are a marketer, we are customers ourselves, right? Imagine how, what kind of nuances you deal with, and you still end up creating value for the brand and for the businesses, right? So my point is, it's okay to do business, it is okay to chase revenues and targets, etc., but with a tinge of love. If you do that, it is not that bad, it is very, very convincing.
Thanks, Amit.
Thank you, Amit. It's time to go buy some bulbs from Cisca, it seems.
Yeah, and on a lighter note, I don't think these days the wives ask Ajay sunte ho. We are like, we go out, we get the bulbs, and we do it properly. I know more about Cisca bulbs than the husbands,
See,
or
Amit
at
was
least my husband.
asking for
Yeah,
this.
that was an old vintage TVC Ajay Sunte ho, ECE bulb.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you
Right.
so much.
Thank you,
Pratima,
guys.
Pratima, just
Right.
one more minute. I know we've slightly short the time limit. Kaushik sir, now Ajay ji spoke about the time patients are spending in queue while being in hospitals. Now, personally, how are you identifying new customer pain points? And of course, we've identified that waiting in queues is excruciating, especially if you're going through an emergency. And as a Medcare group, how are you deploying innovative ways to identify these pain points, other than, of course, the queues which we've spoken about?
See, I think two big ticket items to answer this, and I always say, as a CX professional, I never look into my industry. I look into other industries. So I do not know whether it's a trade secret. I can tell it out, but there's no harm in sharing. When I look at one of the largest pain point areas today is waiting time in the queue. So we said, okay, can we look things very, very differently? And there is an organization in Dubai. It's the name of the organization is known as Smart Salim. Normally, the visa stamping process takes 2 days. This organization has transformed the entire thing. Right from medical checkup to your passport stamping, visa happens in 26 minutes. 2 days to 26 minutes, and everything is a combination of digital provided by the human experience. So what I'm intending to say, I'm without getting into the depth of what, how, and how we are doing this, we are looking at ways and means of how we can partner with such people who bring in a different set of thought process, throw the stereotype things what has been happening or what we are used to, and get something that people have not seen. So few things I will not be able to reveal completely into details, but I'm just giving an overview of what we are looking into for things. Shantanu, if that answers.
Yes, trade secrets will always be trade secrets. So on that note, Prathama, thank you so much. You really helped derive the best out of this session. Panelists, thank you. I would like to, express my gratitude for you to take out time from your busy schedules, especially under trying circumstances that we are living in. And delegates, all of you, this session was brought to you by Devami Design Labs, and their booth is virtually available as it is for Freshworks. You're requested to interact with them as much as possible. And on that note, Samiksha, may I bring you in to switch us over to the next session by Freshworks?
Right.
Sure, will do.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.